Hello everyone, welcome back to Porky's Collectibles. It's been a long time. Hope everyone's doing well. We're very close to opening up our online shop, so stay tuned for that. And next couple of days, we're gonna be opening our Porky's Collectibles card shop, and we're gonna be putting that on Instagram to promote it and come check out our shop. So today we're gonna be starting off a new series. I'm gonna start a new series, a series of videos, different Pokemon to collect or how to invest in Pokemon. Now I'm gonna be doing a breakdown on what cards to choose from and for the long-term investment, also how collectors like me go about collecting and buying certain cards. The new series will break down Pokemon popularity in each generation and how to determine what are the most likely to be safe bets when choosing cards. Now, for the very beginning, I'm going to start off with Gen 1 Pokemon, the original 151, the OG of the whole series. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the best Pokemon from each cards and go through them and put them in different tiers. Tier 1, 2, and 3. Tier 1 obviously being the better of the cards to Pokemon to choose from, and Tier 3 being ones that are not as desirable. So Tier 1 is something like Charizard versus Tier 3 could be something like Ivysaur. No hate for Ivysaur, but usually the middle awkward stages don't get as much love as the first evolution, the first baby Pokemon, and then the final stage evolution. Now, we're going to concentrate over many things. Oh, wow, why am I saying many things? Okay, so what is going to happen is we're going to talk about certain Pokemons in each video. So one video I might be talking just on Pikachu's, one video I might talk on just Charizard's. We're going to talk about underrated, overrated cards, hyped cards, things that you should buy now, things you should avoid. Those kind of cards that will be majority of the video. Now, things that when we're talking about what to invest in, I've come up with a system or an acronym that helps me invest, and I think would help you guys invest in Pokemon cards as well. The acronym would be, you got to be kind of scrappy to be able to invest in Pokemon. Scrappy stands for scarcity, condition, rarity, artwork, popularity, playability, and year. I chose year, same thing as age. So for scarcity, when I talk about scarcity, I'm talking about how rare the card is. How likely is it for you to obtain this card? Certain cards that are only show up for a certain amount of time, or certain sets, like for example, base set was printed to death, to the point where everyone had Charizard, versus Skyridge, where it had such a short run because Wizards of the Coast was losing their license for the TCG and was handing over to Nintendo. So, and nobody was really interested during that time because of the weird transition. So there were a lot less Skyridges out there, Skyridge boxes, hence why Skyridge boxes are expensive. So when I talk about scarcity, I'm going to bring up some examples right now. Two of the examples I'm going to bring up are right here. The one on the left hand side over here, this is a fan promo. So this one you had to do a very specific thing, only in Japan, where you had to get certain do certain events and get amount of points to earn special cards that you redeemed. Now this card is a lot more rare. Not that many on eBay that are selling right now because there aren't that many copies out there. Whereas something as this one over here is a Shining Magikarp. This is coming from the Neo 3, which is the equivalent of the Neo Revelations Shining Magikarp. This one's still pretty rare, but obviously this one's a lot harder to come by, hence it demands a higher price. So that's what I mean by scarcity. Now, going on to condition. Condition is very important in the trading card business. You can have the best, rarest card, but if the condition is poor, it might not do as well as something that's a little bit more common. So when I can talk about condition, very simple. You can see how bad this is right here. This card is just folded in half, destroyed. Right there, poor Celebi, but it's been really played with. Versus something like this Pidgeot here. Very clean. You see how all there's no scratches, maybe some print lines, but those are factory defects anyways, so it doesn't really matter. The back, not many scratches or whitenings. The centering is pretty decent in the back as well. So condition really matters, especially for collectors. So one of the most important things to remember is condition is pretty much king after rarity. Now, moving on into the next one, we're talking about rarity. What do I mean by rarity? What's the difference between rarity and scarcity? They sound almost exactly the same. Well, rarity in terms of the card type it is. So the thing I'm going to show right now is the different types of rarities in Pokemon. Now, for most people that know Pokemon, they already know the different types of rarities. This right here, this Nidoran, is a common. And how would you know if it's a common? Down here, there is a circle. Circle denotes common cards. Next, I'm going to move this. Ooh, okay, there we go. Next, we have this Nidorina, which is the second stage evolution. Right down there, we're going to see that it's a diamond. Diamond denotes that it is an uncommon card. And finally, we have this Nidoqueen, this holographic, nice, beautiful Nidoqueen. Down there, I don't know if you can see it, but that's going to be a star. Star denotes that it's a rare card. Now, there are rares that are non-holographic, and then there's rares that are holographic. So usually it goes from common circles to uncommon diamonds to black star rares, and then black star holographic rares. Now, if you want to dive deeper into rarity, there are more types of rarity. So it doesn't just mean how rare it is for you to find the card. When I talk about rarities, so this Pikachu right here, I'm going to go through a good example is these different types of Pikachus. This Pikachu right here is just a common card with a circle. And then there's different types. The Pikachu V, that's a different type of rarity. There's promos. There's full arts. I chose some different types of full arts. I really like this Pikachu. It's a very underrated card in my opinion. Pikachu V Max, that's a different type of rarity. We got this level X Pikachu. This is a very nice Pikachu. It's Ash's Pikachu. We got the secret rares. We got a flying Pikachu. We got a surfing Pikachu. Now, there's different versions of this. I like the holographic ones for sure. There is ones in evolutions that are secret rares, but they're just non-holographic. We got our hyper rares or rainbow rares, and this is the Chunkachu, the nice VMAX version of it. Another secret rare. This is a nice Delta species. I believe this is from EX Legend Makers. This is a very nice card. And then we got something like this, which is one of the best rarities in my opinion, the Gold Stars. This is the nice Gold Star Pikachu. I'm going to get this one graded. It's in like pretty much perfect condition. I'm expecting minimum 9, 10. I want a 10, but I'm just going to say 9, so we'll see what happens. But anyways, that's what I mean by rarity. Next, we're going to talk about artwork. Now, artwork is also very important. For a collector like myself, artwork determines if I'm going to spend the extra money for it, if I'm going to go out there and buy multiple copies for it. Hence, like something like this where I bought multiple copies of this Raichu because I love the artwork for this Raichu. Same with this Magikarp as well. So it really depends on the card. They could be the same Pokemon, but it's a different type of artwork that collectors want to collect. So I'm going to show you a couple of examples right here. These are two different, let me put this back here. Two different Glaceons. You can see that this is from the newer set, Evolving Skies, or these both are. But I really like this one. That's why it commands a higher price. It's because the artwork is beautiful. This one is a more generic card, so not many people. It's not a better investment later on because it's such a common card. And this one is a harder card to pull, so that definitely has a leg up on the other card. So some more examples. Out of these two, I obviously like the artwork on the left. This is a nice, beautiful Brock's Sandshrew looking off at the sunset or away from the sunset, whatever you want to call it. And then next, we're going to talk popularity. Popularity of Pokemon is also very important. Charizard is very popular. hence why everyone collects Charizards. Personally, I think Charizard is great, but it's not my favorite Pokemon to collect. I collect Tyrannitars, Umbreons. A lot of Umbreon collectors out there. I regret not collecting the Gold Star Umbreon. That's the Japanese version that's holographic back in the day. But that's the one card. If I had to choose one card I really want, that's the card I want. And someday I will get it. But let's talk about popularity. Out of these two, if you were to ask people, you know what a Caterpie is, most people won't know what that means. If you were to say the name Pikachu, everyone knows what a Pikachu is. So that's another thing you have to really consider when collecting is the popularity of the Pokemon. And finally, the year or the age. I put year so you can have the acronym Scrappy. It's just a little easier for everyone to remember. But when I talk about year, I talk about when they were released, what sets they're released in, and that can also affect how well a card is collected, or if a collector is collecting certain sets. It matters. So on the left, we have a Shadowless base set Raichu. This came out in 1999 versus this full art tag team Raichu and Lone Raichu. This came out in 2019. So this is a 20-year-old difference between these two cards right here. So sometimes, usually, I won't say always, but usually older cards demand a higher price. The reason why is because they're no longer in print. Also, the scarcity of you being able to go out there to go find the pack is a lot harder. If you were to go find some team ups or Rebel Clash or any of the newer sets, Evolving Skies, it's easier to find than Shadowless base set pack. Very hard to find. Now, after talking about that, I guess I skipped one. Playability. So, sorry. That's popularity, playability, and then year. Playability doesn't really affect a long-term investment. It's more of a short-term investment in the sense that playability really affects just the Pokemon TCG, what it's intended for. That is playing the actual game itself. So going out there and playing in tournaments, certain cards will be viable for certain strategies, hence they have demand a higher price because people want them in their decks. So certain cards at the time, within a couple of years, will be worth more, but then they'll dip down later because they'll no longer be allowed to be in play or in circulation for a certain format. So cards like this would be like Faulkner's, I forgot what that electric Pokemon is called, but there's that one, all the other trainer cards or just common cards. Some of them will see a higher price right now, but then once they get rotated out, they'll start dipping. So what it really comes down to after that is if the card itself popular. Is the Pokemon popular? Is the trainer popular? And is it something that you would be worth collecting later on? So those are the things that represent Scrappy, or that's how my system goes in terms of trying to figure out which Pokemon to collect. Now this is going to be multi-part videos coming up, and I'm going to go through many things with different Pokemon. First one I will be going through will be Charizard, but that's going to have to be like 2 separate videos just because there's so many Charizards. I will focus just on the base set Charizard for the next video and all the rest of the Charizards later on. And finally, I want to talk about when you're collecting, graded versus ungraded. Now, graded cards, there's a couple of companies out there you can choose from. Everyone knows about them. PSA is the go-to for graded for Pokemon. We have BGS or Beckett. I recommend BGS or Beckett if you have a higher end Pokemon card and you think it's going to get a really high grade. Obviously, you want the Black Label or the Pristine 10. That will command a higher price, in my opinion, than the PSA 10. Just because PSA, sometimes their grades are a little bit wonky for a 10. So, you got to be careful about that. And then CGC, which is the newer grading card company, but I feel they do a very good job. And definitely a lot of people are using CGC, and I approve of them. So those are the 3 companies I would choose. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them, Get Graded, Mint, SGC. There's a whole bunch of them out there. Now, when it comes to graded, there's going to be 4 criteria you want to look out for. Those 4 criteria are going to be the same illustrated in this card right here. These are the criteria that grading card companies look at, and I would recommend you look at as well. The 4 criteria are going to be the surface, the corners, the centering, and the edges. Surface is very simple. It's just scratching or the surface of the card. If you look at it, are there going to be scratches or scuff marks? Are there going to be whitening on the back or any weird edge issues? So that comes into edges. Edges are going to be bottom, the top corner, the sides of the cards. Are they going to be silvering, whiting? Are they going to be weird, fraying? So things to look out for. Corners are just like they say, corners. Are the corners cut correctly? Are there going to be whitening on those as well? Things to look out for as well. And finally, centering. Centering is very important. That's the difference between a 9 and a 10, just because of centering. Though when I'm talking about centering, I'm talking about these borders here. Are these 4 all the same lengths from the side? Same for the front. It's very important. See that yellow border? They're the same width from each side. That is what centering means for a card. So those are the 4 things you want to look out for when you're trying to grade a card or when you're trying to buy a card, because you could get a mint card, but it can be really off-center. Now, of course, there are going to be people that really like off-center or miscut cards, but if you want the high grade, you do not want anything that's really off-center. So those are things you have to look out for. And then finally, one last thing to talk about in terms of gradings is make sure to buy the card, not the grade, because there is such things as weak and strong grades. Weak 10 versus a strong 10, that's very apparent. In terms of, you can think of the first edition base set Charizard. I've seen one when they're graded, the back is just messed up. The reason why is older certs. Back then, they were a little bit more lenient on Pokemon cards because they weren't as popular. Also, back then, it was just more lenient in general. But nowadays, they're more critical on how the card is presented for a 10 like they should. So, difference between a PSA 10 that has issues might demand like 100K versus a very strong 10 that might be closer to 500K. So that's where I'm going to stop today because I'm running on a little bit long and I want to make sure the videos are short so you guys can, get all the information through. Next video, I will be starting with the base set Charizard like I mentioned before. I'm going to go through all the iterations of Charizards. I'll just do a quick run through really quick. We're going to go through all the Charizards and then go through what they are, what set they come from, which ones to collect, what their price points are, PSA 9s, PSA 10s, population reports, everything you need to know about. And that's how we're going to start off the series, is with that. And then later on, the next video after that, we're going to go with different Charizards, Skyridge, Blaine's Charizard, all the different Charizards, all the way up to modern. I'm going to choose the ones that are underrated, overrated, hyped. Obviously, hyped ones are going to be ones that are like Shining Fates ones, or we're just graded, into the ground because there's so many copies out there. So hence the pricing for a PSA 10 so cheap compared to other ones. So I hope this video was informative for everyone. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Comment down below. You can comment or contact me through our Instagram, Porky's Collectibles. And like I said before, we are opening up a shop, and then we're going to be adding more cards later on. But right now, most of it's going to be focused on base set, jungle, and fossil cards, and also legendary collections. So I hope you guys check it out, and see you all next time. Thank you very much. Bye.